What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in. We are wrapping up our second stay here at Custer State Park. This one lasted 10 days. We got about a week before my work camping job starts, so gonna enjoy our last few days here. We really wanted to bring you guys 5 reasons that we have loved Custer State Park, and more specifically staying at Game Lodge Campground. When we were doing some research about this place, it seemed to be kind of hard to find some updated reviews on it and things like that.
Videos and stuff.
So we wanted to maybe just give you guys kind of a current updated review and give you kind of our top 5 reasons that we have really enjoyed staying here, and that it kind of maybe sets this campground apart from some of the others that are here inside Custer State Park.
Number 1. Well, I said number 1 because this is my favorite. Great internet service. Game
Lodge Campground has outstanding cell service. We've had no issues with Dylan streaming videos. We've uploaded these videos actually while we've been here. All of our Custer State Park videos that we've done, we uploaded while we were here using our hotspots, so we've had no issue with cell signal here. And if you go just a mile in either direction, you know, that cell signal goes away, so goes to no service in a lot of places around here. So we can't speak on all the other campgrounds around here. Know that most of them, when we drove down to them to kind of check them out, most of them didn't have very good signal at all, if any. And Game Lodge, phenomenal cell signal. So if that's important to you, and you're trying to do any kind of work online or upload any videos or anything like that, like we were, that cell signal was kind of important to us, and it made it very convenient for us to upload our videos while we're here without having to try to drive off somewhere and go find somewhere where they have better signal.
Number 2, bison in backyard and deer in backyard.
Their second reason that we love here, and these are in no particular order. These are just kind of five reasons, no particular order. Being able to see the bison, deer. We've even had some bighorn sheep come up in the field right directly behind the campground. So one very unique thing that could very well happen if you camp here in Game Lodge Campground is you could be getting ready to fire up your grill, and then you could take a look out in the field and have a bison watching you cook your steaks. Now, they're not bison steaks, so you shouldn't be too upset, right?
Yeah.
What do you think, Dylan? Would you recommend Game Lodge Campground, sir?
I give it 2 thumbs up. I would recommend it.
Yeah? Why would you recommend it?
Wildlife.
Wildlife? Lots of wildlife?
Yeah.
Like that bison right back here behind us?
Yeah. He's big, too.
Yeah, he is. So right here trying to get a campfire started. And we look across the field. Man, look at all these bighorn sheep. Just came right off the hill. I mean, this whole herd just come down from way up here. So now here about to get a fire started. They come right down off the hill. That is awesome. They're there, seems like all the time. I mean, they've been there almost every day that we've been here. We've had a few days where they didn't show up, but for the most part, 99% of the time that we've been here, the bison have been there almost all day long. And in the evenings, early in the morning, easy to spot deer. There's just a tremendous amount of wildlife here, and that's a big plus for us. So.
And just a little fact about bison, they have to eat 26 pounds of grass a day.
Yeah, so that's a lot of grass to eat, and they definitely eat a lot of it from behind the campground right there. So the 2 sites that we've stayed in Game Lodge Campground have been Site 1E and 2E. They have 56 campsites in that campground. When you're looking online, if they have an E behind it, that means it has an electrical hookup. That's the only hookups they have, is just electric only. There's no water, there's no sewer. So
But it's not hard to fill up the water. You just gotta go straight across the way. It's not far.
Yeah, they have a couple hydrants located throughout the campground, so getting water is not a big deal. You just have to kind of walk it back. You have to walk it back to your camper if you're going to be here for quite a while, like we have been. That's a lot of trips carrying water.
It's my walk off of the deck.
So sites 1E and site 2E are definitely the best we've seen that give you the opportunity to really see the bison and the deer kind of up closer, because those campsites kind of back up a little bit closer to the field where they tend to pass through. And also those two campsites are kind of over by themselves. There's 1E, 2E, and then you have two camp host sites that are beside that, and those are the only campsites on that side of the campground. If the campground was full, then you would have quite a few neighbors around you versus
Not like super close though.
yeah, not super close, but you would have quite a few around you versus being over kind of by yourself when you're in site 1 and 2.
Number 3, fishing from the stream.
So there's numerous places to fish throughout Custer State Park. We went down to Legion Lake. Dylan caught a trout out of Legion Lake down there. And anywhere there's little streams, they have little dams built up to kind of form little pond areas. There's a tremendous amount of those places around. There's a couple right in Game Lodge Campground. So fishing right in the campground is very, very accessible and very easy to do also.
Number 4, close to the wildlife loop.
The Wildlife Loop Road is very popular and here in Custer State Park. Basically takes you back through the back part of the park where you can see the bison herds.
Well, now we're stuck here, right? Right?
Yeah, I think he's licking the salt off the truck. You can see a ton of deer. We didn't think we were going to get to see any elk. We didn't see any right away on our first day, We got super fortunate, went out while it was snowing, and we saw the elk herds out in the snow, which was very, very awesome. Holy cow, man. So we've been inside kind of waiting for the weather to give us a little bit of a break. Didn't really happen, but the temperature did warm up a little bit, so we decided to take another shot on the wildlife loop, just go down a little ways, see what we could see, and man, were we rewarded big time. Look at the elk. So everything we read said that it is really tough sometimes to see the elk that live here in Custer State Park. But man, we saw a couple back a little further, and they were too far off to get any kind of good pictures of or anything. But man, these guys are out in force, out here in the snow. Beautiful. 24 degrees right now, snowy. They ain't worried about it. Awesome. And then we went out again very, very early in the morning. We were on the wildlife loop at 6 a.m. We got out here about 6 o'clock this morning. We got greeted by a whole bunch of elk.
A few over here and a few down the way.
We saw a bunch of them when we were here over Easter weekend in the snow. Awesome, there's so many of them.
One took a right at us.
So if you're looking for the elk, very, very early in the morning seems to be the best time to give that a shot.
And the other wildlife that you might catch a glimpse of is the burros and the prairie dogs when you're on the wildlife loop.
They're only 7 or 9.
9.
And one you gotta watch out for. We call him Mr. Toothy. He's always being funny.
Putting his face up in your window trying to get some carrots or get you to pet them.
Yeah, they're big fans of carrots. If you bring some carrots on the wildlife loop road and you find the burros, they will gladly accept carrots. They will stick their head right inside your window and grab those for you. But the campground is very close to the wildlife loop road. You basically come out of the campground, you make a right, and wildlife loop road is right there. From the end of the wildlife loop road to get back to the campground takes you about 25 minutes. One thing I will say about the wildlife loop road, it's a 2-lane road, it's a 2-way road, so you don't have to, once you get on it, you don't have to take the whole entire loop. You can hop on right here by the campground, you can go a few miles in, you can see some wildlife, and then there's places where you can turn around and you can come back to the campground. So, it doesn't loop all the way back around to the campground, but from the time you come off the wildlife loop road, you just turn right. That takes you down to Highway 16A, which you make another right, and it takes you right back to the campground. And that kind of weaves you back around up through the mountains. So you got some awesome overlooks up there. It's just a very beautiful drive back from the end of the wildlife loop road back to the campground.
Number 5, right across the street from the visitor center.
So Game Lodge Campground is located directly across from the visitor center in Custer State Park. Unfortunately, while we're here, the visitor center is closed, but it won't always be closed. So the visitor center, we've seen some videos of the visitor center. It looks amazing. Game Lodge really puts you kind of right in a good spot where there's a lot to do without having to go very far. The park is huge. I mean,
it's bigger than some national parks.
Yeah, it's massive, and there's just so many areas to explore. There's so many trails. Even as you're driving down through on the wildlife loop road, there are side roads that you can take that go go back off into different sections of the park. And the same thing when you're taking the main road through the park. There's a lot of side roads you can turn off and just kind of go explore different areas of the park. We have absolutely loved it. We can't wait to come back, you know, later on in the summertime and see how different it is in the summer versus being here in the early springtime.
Early springtime, yeah.
Because we'll have a couple of different things to take note of. The difference with the springtime versus the summertime, but also the fact that a lot of things were closed down because of the coronavirus.
As well as COVID-19.
Yeah, and hopefully sometime this summer that will be back open where we can visit the visitor center and
Visit the visitor center. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest and GP Outdoors. Bye guys.
All right, we'll catch you guys down the road.